Okay, so the course is run over 4 months, and it's a course that is run 4 days intensively, 10 to 12 hours, in which each building block allows students to come in and learn asanas and then be able to, in between the blocks, practice in a live public class. So I'm often asked, what makes us different? And I'm really clear about it. One is that I've had 27 years of facilitation, learning and development experience. I've worked in the private sector, the public sector. I've been a consultant in learning and development for the government, on the leading edge of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which I did when I was 26, which is many years ago. Wanting to understand, I always had a fascination about learning. What makes people learn? Because I wasn't a good learner. And so I became passionate about how do people learn. And so the one thing that I'm really clear about is that training offers this ability to understand learning. Fundamentally, we have it visually, we have it auditory, we have it kinesthetically, we have conversations, we use music, we use people's strengths and abilities, and we bring that all into a co-creation of learning. We also have a mentor program, which a lot of students say is really quite different. It's a point of difference in that when they finish, they get a teacher, a senior teacher, coming along to 3 or 5 of their classes to support them and mentor them. And that can go on until they're ready and comfortable to go on their own. And so it's a great program that brings in other trainers and teachers who have got expertise in philosophy, in anatomy, in the teaching of the postures, in the feedback. So it's good. It works really well. Often people come to yoga initially for the physical experience, which is only part of the experience, and then they start to know that there's something else there, but they don't quite know what it is. And so often when we offer the teacher training and they say, I'm interested in that, then that they're ready for the conversation. And it's a conversation that is beyond the physical. It's a conversation of what is it that you're looking for. Other people that come along have heard about either myself or about the studios, or another teacher trainee has said, hey, this might be for you. People do have to be ready. They have to be ready physically, emotionally. They have to have the time and space. So we interview people initially. They fill out a form and we ask a little bit about their experiences, on the mat and off the mat, so we can make as best we can a judgment call around that and have an honest conversation around what they need to do. That it's certainly an intense time, you can imagine. We have 4 days each month with 2 workshops in between that as well. And it's physically demanding, it's mentally demanding, and emotionally, and for want of a better word, spiritually. Before we start the blocks, we have a 4-hour learning session. And that's all about learning. It's about how you learn, why you learn, what you learn. And basically we set up an intention that will carry us through the 4 months of learning. We talk about, that intention of wanting to learn because we don't know what we don't know. So we're in that, consciously incompetent. Don't know what we don't know. I want to drive the car. I'm a teenager. I want to drive the car. And then we get into the driver's seat. And suddenly we realize everything that we don't know. Everything that we don't know. And that's called conscious incompetence. And conscious incompetence is for all of us starting something new. You have to kind of be willing to, jar the gear stick, get yelled at maybe a little bit, do the bunny hops, sweaty palms, mind going crazy. What gets you from what we call conscious incompetence to conscious competence is practice. Practice, skills and abilities, tools, feedback. Practice, 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 feedback. And so that's what we offer. You get to that, then you at some stage evolve and become unconsciously competent. That's where now you probably get into the car, you drive, you're probably listening to the radio, you get home and you go, oh yeah, if somebody was to ask you, how do I drive? You'd have to go back. And so we really look at that before people come into the learning environment, because that's going to kick in. It has to kick in because it's the unknown. And the unknown brings up all sorts of things for us. And for adult learners, it can be a little bit trickier too, because we want to hang on. So we set that up really strongly. And then the blocks are all about, firstly, they come in the morning, no words, we practice. We're doing yoga. We don't want to hear any words. Let's just come into the body, the breath, notice the mind. And then we have like a session which is either anatomy, philosophy, or something around terminology or teaching methodology. And then the afternoon, there will be something that will reinforce what we've learned in the morning. In the afternoons, even in the first block, there's public classes and some people will get to teach one posture. We finish on a meditation, no words, notice what you notice about yourself. Come back the next day and we start through the process again. So we're really committed to one, not having too much conversation at the beginning and the end of the day, but in the middle of the day, really developing whatever the goal is for that day and layering it into different clinics or different conversations.